What's up, guys? It's Liam. Today I'm going to be talking about UFC 306, also known as UFC Noche the Sphere, at the Sphere. So the way that this event has been hyped by Dana White, I'll show you a little clip.
What we're going to attempt to pull off, I told you a million times, you're like, oh, he's always fucking, I'm telling you right now, this will never, ever be replicated. Nobody will ever do this again. It won't make sense for anybody. It's just too much money. This will be one of the greatest things you've ever seen live, and we're going to try to pull off one of the greatest things you've ever seen on TV, too.
It better be the best event that they ever host. This has to be at least as good or better than UFC 300. UFC 300 was magical, and this has to be magical too. It has to bring lots of people to the sport, and it has to have great fights. And that is possible if you follow my instructions. So, in my opinion, there's no time for Russian anus smellers. I just think this is a night where fights have to either be good Mexican prospects because it's UFC Noche, or it has to be just great fights. So let's move on to the first fight of the early prelims. Rafael Esteban versus Carlos Hernandez. So Rafael Esteban, he's a good striker and he has a bunch of potential, but he almost got finished by Jose Johnson in the third round. He did show good wrestling, and he did end up winning the fight, but he got hit hard and he got hit good. And this dude, he might be chinny. We don't know. We don't know if he's chinny or not. And Carlos Hernandez, dude, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, I believe. They've been feeding him to the Asian wolves, bro. Ray Tusarin and I don't know. I can't remember his name. I can edit it in. But he got thrown versus him, and he was kind of meant to lose. I thought that he was going to win against Ray Tusarin, and in my opinion, non-biased, I think he did pretty good. I don't think he won, but I think he showed great grappling and good potential. I feel like Carlos Hernandez, he hasn't really been given the chance to shine because they're feeding him to wolves. I think he needs to fight someone like Rafael Esteban to really prove himself or prove that he's a bum, which I don't think is true. I think he's solid. He has really good jiu-jitsu so far. Pretty good, solid. So good potential. So the next fight I have, Rafa Garcia versus Jordan Leavitt, the Monkey King. So Jordan, the Monkey King, he chops at legs hard, and he has really solid power. I think that like 70% or like 80% of his significant strikes are actually leg kicks. And I think that it's going to really be, does Rafa Garcia, who has pillow hands but really high volume, does he jab his way and does he stun lock Jordan Leavitt with spam jabs, or is Leavitt going to get a finish? And I think either way, this fight is going to be a fun fight. I don't think it's going to be any nut hugging. I don't think it's going to be any boringness. It's either going to be a finish or a high volume. And I like that. So next, we have Manuel Torres versus Daniel Zellhuber. So both of these prospects, they're both big prospects. And they both fought in the last UFC Noche event. They're both good Mexican prospects, and they're similarly skilled, and they're both on win streaks. Manuel Torres, he showed that he has a really good chin, and he has high volume striking when he fought Francisco Prado. Manuel Torres, maybe I. Okay, so Manuel Torres, my bad. Manuel Torres has showed really solid finishing potential with only one fight going the distance. But I want to see what he can do against someone like Daniel. My fault. I called Daniel earlier. What I was talking about earlier, I was talking about Daniel Zellhuber. I called him Manuel Torres. My bad. Manuel Torres finisher, Daniel Zellhuber high volume. It's another one of those fights. I think those striker versus striker fights are usually the most fun and bring the most eyes on the sport. And I think having that in early prelims will kind of encourage people to watch prelims more, maybe. And it'll hype up whoever wins. So I think it's going to be either what happens when Daniel Zellhuber gets taken all the way or takes Manuel Torres all the way, or if it's a knockout. So now on to just the normal prelims. Randy Brown versus Carlos Prates. So Carlos Prates, he deserves a good fight up. And Randy Brown, I think, is the guy. Because the brutal knee on Charles Radke, dude, you could hear it from a mile away. That shit was painful to watch. And I personally would have crumpled in a ball too if I got hit with that. I want to know if Randy Brown does, if he gets hit with that. So Randy Brown's a fighter that likes to blitz from distance. He likes to go on little blitzes, but sorry, I just said this in two ways. But he keeps his distance. He jabs away. So he'll jab away, jab, 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 blitz, quick. And then Carlos Prates, he's someone that gets in close, lands hard shots, and also blitzes. He comes in, less jab, but more hooks and kicks. Knees a lot, as seen versus Charles Radke. He's a powerful dude, so I want to see if Randy Brown is going to be able to keep distance and keep him from closing the distance, or if Carlos Prates is going to be able to close distance and maybe get a finish. So next up, we're going to have Brian Battle versus Max Griffin. So after I don't know if it's Angie or Ange. After Angelusa, he just gave up mid-fight. Brian Battle was talking shit. He obviously wants a war. He doesn't want a fighter that's going to quit. He wants a big highlight finish. He wants a big fight so that he can gain momentum in his career. He likes to trade, but honestly, his jiu-jitsu is good off his back. He has a lot of submissions, but his wrestling isn't good. He has a takedown accuracy of 29%, and I don't think he wants. I don't think he's good in a top dominant position. Max Griffin, he's someone willing to bring a big fight. He is a sloppy fighter, but he's always able to clinch a win. So he might be able to clinch this one. They're normally close fights with Max Griffin when he wins, and I think that this could be a close fight, or it could be an absolute, I just feel like this is going to be a war. I like this fight. I like the energy coming from Brian Battle, and I like Max Griffin in fights. I think that he's not scared to brawl. Diego Ferreira versus Jonathan Martinez. So Diego Ferreira is another fighter that's just kind of slowly building up the prelims, you know? I've been watching him. I think he's a good fighter. He seems pretty fun. Again, these are all fighters that I think are fun and will bring eyes to the sport, and I think he has a lot of potential. Jonathan Martinez losing against Jose Aldo, even though I was so glad Jose Aldo won, Jose Aldo is a legend, it kind of did hurt seeing Jonathan Martinez lose, because he made a little documentary about his family, about how much this win would mean to him, and he has heart, but he just got dominated. So he needs to go down and fight someone that arguably could be seen as worse than him, but doesn't have his resume. They're both good fighters. Again, they're both strikers. It's going to be fun. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Kyler Phillips. So I talked about this in my best unranked fight videos. I think this is Raul Rosas Jr.'s best chance to prove what he has in the top 15. And if he loses, it's going to show that he needs to develop and that he maybe is too young for the top 15, of course, and he needs to gain more experience. I think Kyler Phillips is a safe dude to show that without giving too much brain damage to Raul Rosas Jr. I think that Raul Rosas Jr., if he ends up submitting Kyler Phillips, maybe even knocking him out, even a decision. Any win, I think, would be amazing for Raul. And Kyler Phillips, a win against Raul Rosas Jr., not only would prove that Raul Rosas has a lot to work on, but it would prove that Kyler Phillips does deserve to be in the top 15. Bantamweight? Yeah, bantamweight. The main card. Lerone Murphy versus Diego Lopez. So, Lerone Murphy, he's a fun fighter. He's very technical. He kind of reminds me of a more fun Leon Edwards. Like Leon Edwards at his peak. Not skill-wise. Maybe potentially skill-wise. But Leon Edwards, when he has his 3 highlights every 10 years, you know? Lerone Murphy is kind of that all the time. He's not boring, I don't think. I think he has a wide arsenal, especially on the feet. And Diego Lopez has great ground game and solid offense on the feet. So it's either Diego Lopez is going to outgrapple Lerone Murphy, or Lerone Murphy maybe can outstrike Diego Lopez. And I think that this is a great test for both of them. Again, this is another fight where I feel like it's untested fighter versus untested fighter. Well, I wouldn't call this untested fighter versus untested fighter. I would call this second round tested fighter versus second round tested fighter. Meaning they've both been tested, but it's kind of here to show how good they are, you know? If they really have that level. Michel Pereira versus Kevin Holland. I think that this has the potential to be a very good fight. So Kevin Holland, he's accepted the fact, I shouldn't even include, I think this has good potential. All of these fights, obviously, I think have good potential. Kevin Holland, he accepted the fact that he's a gatekeeper. I think he even said it in an interview, and I know he did, because I watched him say it live. And Michel Pereira, he's someone who's crossing that gate, and very soon, and I think Kevin Holland versus Michel Pereira, it's either going to go like MVP, where Michel Pereira just styles on him and shows him what's up, or Michel Pereira might gas. He has a bad gas tank that was shown in earlier fights. A flashy style like Michel Pereira, it could either frustrate Kevin Holland and beat him, or it can make openings for Kevin Holland. So I think that this fight is sure to end in a finish. I could see a sub or a knockout or a TKO. I just don't see this going the distance, and I think it's going to be a fun fight. Of course, like every fight on this, maybe not besides, this will be okay. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. 3. So this is a fight that you have to make because of the draw in their last fight. And it's a trilogy fight. And it is WMMA. And could be pretty boring. It could be fun. I like WMMA, but I know a lot of people don't. And it won't necessarily bring a lot of hype. So the thing I'm worried about UFC 306, which I feel like a lot of other people have expressed their fear, is that this will be the main event. And I really think that that's not what the UFC is going to do, and I hope it's not, because the way Dana White has been hyping this up, it's about to either be another UFC 300 or a bust. And the way to make it a bust is having Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko as the main event. So I think this should be like, not even the co-main. You'll see what I mean. If we really want this to be a huge, huge event and not just talk, then this can't even be the co-main. This is a title fight, and solid. It's okay. It's a good WMMA fight. It's not going to pull anyone in. Alexa Grasso is probably just going to win again. And it's mid. So Sean O'Malley versus Merab Delavishi, however the fuck you say his last name. So as you can see, the midget is midgety. Midget on midget. Hey, I'm also a midget. I'm 5'3". I'm probably shorter than him or the same height. I think Merab's like probably 5'5". Let's see. 5'6". Damn. Okay, I can't even call him a midget. Compared to Sean O'Malley, he's a midget though. So Sean O'Malley, he's one, I'd say top 5 best strikers in the UFC right now. Maybe top 3. I think he can chin anyone in his division. And Merab is not an exception. He's been knocked out before. He's been knocked out cold before. But since being knocked out, he has improved immensely. And he's not a striker. Everyone knows this. It's either Merab nut hugs and wrestle fucks Sean O'Malley, or Sean O'Malley knocks out Merab. If this is a decision, I don't know. I don't know who wins the decision. This is a really hype fight. If Sean O'Malley is able to get this title defense, it could possibly have him moving up and getting double belt or fighting other contenders, you know? This is a huge win for either of them. And if Merab's able to win the belt, Merab's a Mexican bro. Yeah, he might not be Mexican, but he's Mexican in heart. So that would be a big win for UFC Noche. And they could advertise that. And I feel like a lot of Mexicans like Merab. So I think that Merab's game plan is probably going to be try and tire out Sean O'Malley like wrestlers do. So the main event of UFC 306. I know everyone's saying co-main and main, same as I just did. But it's for a reason. This is a very, very hype fight. And this would be technically a 4-belt UFC event, which would be immensely huge. Very, very big. And it would guarantee an amazing fight within any of these 3 huge fights. 2 huge fights. Well, Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. I don't know how I feel about this. Of course, I want Max Holloway to win. I think Ilia might pull it off. He beat Volkanovski. The real question is, did he beat Volk because he's better? Or did he beat Volk because Volk's chin got cracked by Islam Makhachev? And could be the second. If it's the second, we'll see him put to test versus Max Holloway. But if he really did outperform Volkanovski, and not just because he chinned him, if he's really better than Volk, I don't think Max Holloway has a chance. I hope that bites me in the ass saying that, because I want Max Holloway to win. But I think it's like a 80% chance Ilia Topuria wins, and that would be a huge win for Spain, huge win for Hispanics. And I don't know about Mexico specifically, but I know that it's a Hispanic-oriented card. It would be a huge win. It would be awesome. It would be a great title defense. And if Max Holloway wins, he'll not only win the belt, but I think be the first. Not sure if Conor had the belt while he was BMF. He might be the first to hold a BMF belt while holding a normal belt. I'm not sure if I'm right on that, but that could be a possibility. And it would be for 2 belts. So either way, someone's going to hold a BMF belt and hold a normal belt, I believe. I don't know how I'd feel about Ilia as the BMF, but he is badass. He beat Volkanovski previous baddest man on the world, on the earth. So these are the fights that I think would make UFC 306/The Sphere a really great event. And if Dana's not all talk, I'm really hyped for this event. We'll see how this works out. Hopefully they'll have enough money, no fights get canceled. They'll be able to make an event like this. And I think the bread and butter really isn't in the main event. Of course, partially it is, because you don't want a main event like UFC 303 where it's the main card. Here, I'll show you. I won't show you, but I'll say where it had two really good fights and then the entire main card was mid. Actually, Diego Lopez was good. I'd say it had 3 solid fights. But you don't want the prelims to be stronger than the main card, but you do want strong prelims. And I think that having strong prelims is the bread and butter of the UFC. I think that's what they should do. I enjoy that a lot, and this is how you do it. So, I hope you liked my video. Hopefully people actually watch it, but if not, this is fun. I'm Liam. See you later. I'll probably make a video tomorrow or in the next few days. Let's hope this uploads within today.